Botting is a disease that has plagued MMOs for decades. I'm going to explore the history of one of the most iconic methods used to combat this disease in the popular MMORPG RuneScape. From evil chickens and broken axe heads to whatever this is. Random events refer to a variety of NPCs that appear throughout RuneScape to interact with players. They were designed to interrupt macros or botting scripts and grant legitimate players a small reward. Many of these events were dangerous and could kill your character if you were not paying attention. Before RuneScape 2, RuneScape Classic had a fatigue system, which was the original method meant to combat botting. Your fatigue level would be displayed on your skills tab and would rise as you skilled. When your fatigue hit 100%, you had to sleep in a bed or sleeping bag to continue gaining experience. This mysterious old man is one of RuneScape's first random event NPCs. He would randomly appear and give you one of these items. Ignoring him would teleport you to a random location across the map. With the update on August 2nd, 2004, you now have a chance at getting 3 new random events from the old man. The now discontinued Strange Box that required you to complete a puzzle which asked you to match colors to shapes. This would soon be changed, and you probably remember the Strange Box that asked you which shape contains which number, or which number is in which shape. Completing it rewarded you with coins, gems, or a rare half key. Ignoring the Strange Box resulted in the spawning of even more Strange Boxes until your inventory was full. You could not bank these boxes, alch them, or drop them. Once your inventory was filled with boxes, you had to die or complete all of the boxes to get rid of them. The Mime, where you're teleported to a stage and forced to mirror the mime's movements. The mime performs one of 8 emotes. The mime cheers if you copy the correct emote, and cries if you get it wrong. Once completed, you are teleported back and rewarded with a piece of the mime outfit or one of the 4 mime emotes. Fun fact, if you look out into the audience while on the mime stage, you will see 3 strange watchers, which are said to represent the 3 main RuneScape gods, Zamorak, Saradomin, and Guthix. And lastly, the Maze event, where you're teleported to a maze and have to touch the shrine in the center. The faster you completed it, the better your reward. If you're a RuneScape veteran, you may remember a strange plant that would grow beside your character. After an eternity, the plant would fully bloom and you had the option to pick its strange fruit. Eating the fruit would restore run energy and cure poison. If you were AFK too long, the plant would pull its roots up from the ground and start attacking you, poisoning you in the process. Keep in mind that in the old days of RuneScape, dying would result in your items automatically showing up on the ground for everyone to pick up. But this was not the only random event to threaten your existence. The Swarm was a very weak but aggressive event that could not be attacked. You were forced to run away from it until it despawned. Guardians were a category of events that would appear when players were training gathering skills such as mining, fishing, woodcutting, or prayer. The Rock Golem was a guardian of mining. For woodcutting, it was the tree spirit. The guardian of fishing was the river troll, and for prayer it was the shade and zombie. While thieving, the watchman would appear. However, he would be removed in 2006 due to players complaining that he killed them too quickly. In 2005, the final guardian was released, the evil chicken, that could spawn while training any skill. The level and max hit of the guardian was dependent on the level of your character as follows. You could simply run a short distance away or fight them for a chance at an item drop based on the skill you were training. If you grew up playing RuneScape, you'll know the pain of your axe head flying off, losing your fishing equipment to the void, or walking an hour to the mines to repair your pickaxe. This was the result of equipment damaging random events. While skilling, there was a small chance for an event to cause your equipment to malfunction. The tree, rock, or fishing spot that you were using would graphically change for a short amount of time to indicate that the resource was temporarily no longer safe to use. Continuing to use that resource for 30 seconds after the graphical change would result in your equipment being damaged, and you would have to fix or replace the tool you were using. While woodcutting, the tree would grow an evil face and move slightly. If the player continued to cut the evil tree, their axe would break and they would need to take it to Bob in Lumbridge to have it repaired. If you were mining a rock and it began to smoke, it's best you stopped mining that rock. The exploding rock event would cause your pickaxe to break if you continued to mine the smoking rock. You would need to take it to Nermoth in the Dwarven Mines to have it repaired. A whirlpool would form at the top of a fishing spot that consumed your fishing tools if you continued to fish the whirlpool. The tools could no longer be retrieved and you were forced to buy a new one. Now there were a handful of random events that would immediately displace, not destroy your equipment. If you did not pick up the equipment in time, you were at risk of it despawning or having another player pick it up. The Big Fish event was an event where a large fish would appear, eat your fishing gear, then spit it out a few tiles away. While mining and woodcutting, there is a chance for the head of your axe or pickaxe to fly off a short distance away. You would simply have to reattach the head of the axe to the handle instead of paying an NPC to fix the item. There are countless stories of players AFKing too long and losing their dragon axe head, which back in the day cost millions of GP. Lastly, if you were farming, there is a chance your spade or rake head would fly off. One event that most scapers have never experienced is the Candlelight or Pious Pete random event, released in February of 2006. There is no known footage of this event as it was only in the game for a few months and was notoriously difficult to complete due to its vague instructions. I have personally never experienced this event, but a player named Stevenator80 created this website in 2006. It describes the event and how to solve it. Basically, you're teleported to Pete's church and asked to light the new candles, not the ones that are burnt down. You use an interface with arrows and a button in the middle to light the candles, and once completed, you are granted a small reward. Imagine this, you're 8 years old, you just got 25 magic for the teleport to Varrock spell, but upon using this spell, you find your character in an abyss. At this point, you're shaking. There are 4 levers to pull, and in your manic state, you pull the closest one to you, hoping to escape this hell. Oops, that was the wrong lever. You're crying and spam clicking the lever, hoping it will work. But it doesn't. The mithril armor you worked so hard for does not save you, and you try another lever. It damages you even more. Nothing works. However, there's one final lever. You're at 2 hit points. This lever could end your life, but you do it anyways. It's the correct lever. You escape the abyss and are rewarded 1 law rune and 3 air runes, and never use the teleport spell again. This was the Lost and Found event. A lesser known event would trigger from thieving chests. Occasionally, a chest would become stuck and a poison gas would come out and damage nearby players. Although it had a green hit splat, the gas would not poison the player. One of the deadliest random events was the Lost Pirate event. Captain Hand would spawn and mistake you for his shipmate. If you ignored the captain, he would attack you with an extremely accurate crossbow. He would attack until death, and could slice through even the highest tier of armor. If you talked to him while he attacked you, he would stop attacking and reward the player. Like the mime event from the mysterious old man, Jagex would implement other random events that rewarded you with an outfit. Failing to complete these events would teleport you to a random location. In 2005, the Drill Demon, Forester, and Kiss the Frog random events would be added to RuneScape. For Damon the Demon's event, you're teleported to a camp where he instructs you to perform 1 of 4 exercises correctly. If done correctly, you're rewarded with a piece of the camo outfit or 1 of 4 training emotes. The Freaky Forester event teleported you to a pheasant hunting ground, where the forester instructs you to kill a pheasant with a certain amount of tails. Bring him back the pheasant meat and get rewarded with a piece of the Lederhosen outfit. In the Kiss the Frog event, you would literally have to kiss a frog with a crown. Kissing the correct frog rewards you with a frog token, which you could exchange at the Varrock clothes shop for a piece of the prince or princess outfit. Ignoring the event would teleport you to Frogland, where you're turned into a frog, and you must seek the prince or princess and beg for forgiveness to be turned back to normal. In 2006, the last 2 random event outfits were added with the Beekeeper and Gravedigger events. The Beekeeper event teleports you to a field and requests help in repairing a broken beehive. Assemble the hive by dragging the 4 parts to their proper place. Originally, this event could only be obtained by picking flags. In the Gravedigger event, you are teleported to a graveyard where you dig up 6 graves and put them in their proper place by examining the gravestone and the contents in the graves. Match them correctly, then talk to Leo to receive your reward. Like the Beekeeper, you could only receive this event while training prayer. The final few random events rewarded you with a variety of items. If you ignored them or failed to complete the challenge, you were attacked or teleported away. During the Surtur event, Niles, Giles, or Miles ask you to identify an item on a note. You are rewarded for guessing the item correctly and punished for guessing wrong. If you guessed incorrectly, you would have all of your items noted and would be teleported to a random location. Everyone's favorite lady would appear and offer you a sandwich of her choice. Choose the correct sandwich and you get to keep it. Choose incorrectly and she bashes you on the head with her baguette and teleports you to a random location. Captain Arnev took you to his island and asked you to solve the combination lock on his treasure chest. Match the picture to the words on the side and receive a gift. fail and get teleported to a random location with no reward. The Quizmaster teleports you to an unknown location and forces you to play his game of Odd One Out. There are 4 questions with 3 rotating items displayed. The correct selection is the item that does not match the other 2 items on display. If all questions were answered correctly, the player had the choice between a mystery box and 1,000 coins. This random event is a reference to Mastermind, a long-standing British quiz show with the iconic black chair and spotlight for contestants. A kebab and a beer? Don't mind if I do. But if you don't, the drunken dwarf would become hostile and attack you with a ranged attack. An evil cat named Bob had 2 different random events to offer. The first teleports you to his private island, where you pick up a small fishing net and fish a cooked fish from one of the 4 spots on the island. Fishing the correct cooked fish and giving it to Bob was not enough, so you had to uncook the fish on the pot next to him. Bob would pass out after eating the correct uncooked fish, and you were free to leave the island, granting a small amount of fishing experience. The other Bob event teleported you to a prison with Prison Pete. The prison is filled with balloon animals running around. You pull the lever on the wall to see the correct balloon to pop. Pop the correct balloon and receive a key. Repeat this 3 times to escape. My personal favorite event was a surprise exam random. You're teleported to the classroom of Mr. Mordot, a giant red dragon with cool glasses. Answer his questions right and get rewarded with a book of knowledge. Molly would appear and teleport you to her lair to help capture her evil twin. The player had to use the control panel in the next room to capture her twin, who was wandering beneath a giant arm grabber with several other innocent, similar-looking people. Grab the identical evil twin and get rewarded. Grab 2 innocent people and get teleported to a random location. This giant troll may make you remember the pinball random. You're brought to a cave with 10 poles, and you have to tag 10 in a row with the glowing rings on the bottom. Tagging the poles incorrectly would reset your score. A pillory guard would teleport you to a cage in Varrock, Yanil, or Sears Village, where you're forced to open 3 locks to escape. Match the shape of the key to the shape of the spinning lock. If another player or a tramp walked past you while in the cage, they could humiliate you even more by chucking a rotten tomato at your character. Rick Turpentine, a former highwayman, would confront you and reward you with items or coins. Ignoring the man made him attack you with his crossbow. He would pursue you until you ran a short distance away. I completely forgot about the security guard event. He would speak to you and remind you to set your recovery questions, then give you a reward. If ignored, he attacks. Jekyll and Hyde are famous scientists who appeared and briefly explained the experiment they were working on and requested an herb. If no herb was in your inventory, you are rewarded a random potion. If he refused, he teleported away and gave a 2-dose strength potion. If ignored, he would transform into Mr. Hyde and try to kill you. Mr. Hyde dropped either a pestle and mortar, a random potion, or an empty vial if killed. And last but not least, the genie. Speaking to him resulted in an experience lamp you could rub for free experience in a skill of your choice. The experience gained is 10 times the level of your skill. Ignoring him would either teleport you or scatter the items in your inventory all over the ground. On February 25th, 2009, random events would change forever. They would be updated, retiring some of the older random events from active service, overhauling others, and rewriting the rewards for almost every surviving event. The rate at which you get randoms was modified, and it's now possible for all players to get all of the events even if they don't do the activities that are typically associated with them. Traditionally, most random events were assigned to a skill or specific task. For example, the Beekeeper random would only appear to players picking flax, etc. After this update, every reward received from a random would be a random event gift box. The reward options are randomized, but players with the higher skill total would generally be given better rewards. The genie would be removed in this update, but a lot of randoms would give you the option to choose a genie lamp. If chosen, the genie would personally come and give you the lamp. Here's a list of the events that were retired after the update. The dangerous random events were removed completely, however you can still find many of these NPCs in odd places around RuneScape. Due to improvements in Jagex's anti-macroing technology over the years, random events would be removed completely from RuneScape 3 on October 24th, 2012. Although they were removed, many of the characters within the events have new homes across Gilmore. Talking to the mysterious old man in Draenor Village will reveal the location of the random event NPCs still in the game. With the official release of the old school RuneScape servers in 2013, Most random events returned to the game as they were in 2007, only on these servers. However, on August 28, 2014, a poll that removed aggressive random events and introduced the option to dismiss any event was met with a positive 86.6% vote, and these changes were implemented shortly after. This update would also remove several random events from old school RuneScape, and you would no longer be teleported away for ignoring an event. Throughout the next few years in old school RuneScape, a few other small mechanics were changed. In 2022, they gave the Sandwich Lady a 1 in 64 chance of rewarding a stale baguette when a baguette is offered, giving players a reason to not dismiss her. On August 23, 2023, one of the best changes to random events was released. A player who has received every random event outfit piece will now receive an XP lamp upon completing the same event, with the exception of the Beekeeper and Frog outfits. A month later, the first new random event in over a decade was added to old school RuneScape. Count Check. He spawns and checks to see if you have upgraded to a Jagex account. If you have upgraded, you are rewarded an XP lamp. If not, you receive nothing but a reminder to secure your account. In my opinion, the most interesting random events are the ones that were completely scrapped or discontinued shortly after their release. I'll begin with Dr. Ford, who was in the game for a couple months back in 2005. Players woodcutting or mining would get hit in the head by a wood chunk or stone. Dr. Ford would appear with blood on his apron and ask you to identify a hand and how many fingers it had. The hand figure was completely random and would sometimes flick off unsuspecting players. Answering correctly rewarded the player with fruit, and due to a bug, teleported the player to a distant location even though they answered correctly. Next is the Tanglevine event. It was added on April 6, 2004, and was removed about 3 hours after its release. This event spawned vines that sprouted on the floor, and players would have to stand still to avoid damage. It was extremely buggy, being known to delete whole chunks of the map. This event quickly received much criticism and was ultimately removed from the game. There are 3 known random events that were meant to be in the game but were never officially released. The first was a very small brown imp named Brownie. Its exact purpose is unknown, but 3 animations still existed in the game files long after its removal. It would appear, grab something, then disappear. However, it appears to have been cut quite early on in development. Second is the speedy gnome, Sebastian No. He was mentioned in a behind-the-scenes article as being the fastest gnome in the world, and was to be released alongside several other random events such as the Sandwich Lady. Unfortunately, Sebastian No would never officially be added to RuneScape. And finally, the Duke of Bridgelum was an unreleased random event that involved going to Scape Rune to help the Duke of Bridgelum reassemble dead cows from their component parts. The random event was scrapped because the testers at the time pointed out that the dismembered cow parts looked grotesque. The reward would have been pieces of the cow outfit, which are now given to players as a reward from birthday events. Throughout the decades, anti-macroing technology has evolved tremendously, but so did the macroers. Random events no longer serve their intended purpose. 20 years later, they exist in old school RuneScape as a fragment of history. We may never see the destruction of botting, but that doesn't mean we should stop coming up with new ideas to prevent it.